Hey everybody, my name is Jeremy Huff, in case you just don't remember me, but let's get right into it. After today, I believe my audience will have a better understanding of what exactly persuasive speaking is, the importance of it, and finally a few concepts and key points relating to speaking persuasively. Let's start out by talking about what exactly persuasion is. To me, persuasion is basically using your knowledge and pull in order to make people believe and act as you personally see fit. The dictionary, on the other hand, describes persuasion as an unconscious or conscious act in which we try to get others or ourselves to do or act in a certain manner. It's really funny to me that we actually have to persuade ourselves every day. If you don't believe me, well, think about the last time you had to get up really early in the morning after not getting much sleep. Do you remember how hard you had to fight yourself that getting out of bed was actually a good decision? Well, that is self-persuasion. We persuade ourselves that making money and surviving is more important than going to that job we hate day after day. But in all actuality, we spend a lot more time each day being persuaded than we do actually persuading others. A cool little fact I saw said that we as Americans are exposed to 3,500 to 5,000 persuasive images daily. I know you're sitting there like, what? 500,000? That's impossible. But you have to think about when you go for a drive. Every sign you see falls into that category, along with bumper stickers, gas stations, specials that are posted on the windows, and not to mention commercials when you're sitting at home just watching TV. Possibly even when you see that guy in the park biting down into that thick, juicy cheeseburger. And that image might persuade you to go out and get your own. But there are many tactics one could use in order to persuade. Some of which we are very familiar with. For example, wait, that's not all method that the late Billy Mays did so well. If you're not familiar with this method, it is when a company presents an item at a set price, but then sweetens the pot by throwing in an additional products at no additional charge. I believe this is a very effective method because personally I don't buy things off the TV, but occasionally if I see a product that catches my attention for a decent price and then they double the offer, I have to use that self-persuasion I was just telling you about in order to keep my hands off the phone. Other tactics include the foot in the door method, in which companies ask you for a small commitment that then turns into a large commitment without you even realizing it. Also, the door in the face tactic. I'm sure you have went through with your car dealerships in which they set a high price or a high commitment, and once you reject that offer, they settle for a smaller commitment or lower the price, which was actually what the company had in mind in the first place. This method is really funny to me because they persuade us into thinking that we actually got a great deal, or we are the king of negotiation, when we just paid exactly what they wanted us to pay in the first place. Lastly, I'm going to talk about persuasive symbols, verbal and nonverbal communication, and how these things are used, and unfortunately how they're misused. Symbols are one of the most important and powerful nonverbal tools in persuasion. Symbols allow us to identify companies or laws without spelling them out for us. They allow us to communicate without words, which are very important in our culture today. Without symbols, all we would have is words. And how hard would it be to read a street sign if symbols didn't exist? Think about it. You can trace almost anything in this world back to the use of words. Let's talk about racism. Racism is verbally created and non-verbally acted upon. Without words, racism would not exist to the extent it does today. The ability to use words and symbols is the only thing that separates us humans from animals, and that was stated by Suzanne Langer. Words give us the power to be the dominant species on this planet, and Suzanne also stated that in her theory that symbolism underlies all human knowing and understanding. She said that signs announce objects, but symbols are the ones that actually induce our conceptions of an object's meaning. A sign tells you an object is near or has rather short meaning, basically, but symbols stand for something much more that give us insight into what the symbol actually stands for. There are many ways to use and misuse symbols. Think about I did a case study on Joe Camel. He was an animated cartoon character for a cigarette company who was actually targeting children with this funny, smooth, fun-loving character. Eventually, people started to realize that more children started smoking after they saw Joe Camel on commercials daily, and 60% of kids said that they recognized Joe Camel over Mickey Mouse and Fred Flintstone. Now that's just ridiculous to me that a cigarette company would intentionally target children with a product that is fatal. But thank you for listening, and I hope you learned a lot about persuasion today, because it is something that's going to be around for the rest of your life, and it is the most influential tool that we have in life if used properly. Be a responsible persuader, and have a great night.